Hi, I'm Danny,
I'm Sam.
and this is Business in a Brew.
We'll be poring over business stories,
and talking about things that interest us in the world of business.
so we'd like you to just take a few minutes out, listen.
Yeah, we'd love it if you join our conversation with us. Hello.
Hi, Danny.
That was creepy.
The look on your face, it was.
Sorry. So, I'm going to talk about Ben & Jerry's. Because I love Ben & Jerry's, and I had some ice cream the other day. The other day is my catch-all for everything from yesterday to last week. Anyway, that's not the point. So, Ben & Jerry's is really interesting because it's similar to a conversation we've had before about values. They are very, very value-led, and Mr. Ben and Mr. Jerry, I can't remember what their names are, Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield themselves are massive activists, and they're a bit of a thorn in the side of Unilever.
They're actual real people.
They're real people, yeah.
I actually thought they were a marketer's dream.
Mm-hmm. They are real people. Those bushy activist-looking faces you get in the Ben & Jerry advertising is actually Ben & Jerry. Their whole marketing thing was around being real, relatable people. But they genuinely care about lots of stuff, so they will go out and protest. You've got like pictures of them on the front line and stuff with their placards and things, and they're a right thorn in Unilever's side because we don't do activism, we don't do talking about these things. So they're just an amazing couple of men. But again, similar to some things we've talked about before, they didn't start with an ice cream dream.
I was going to say they didn't start the fire.
They also didn't start. I'm pretty sure there isn't a fire in here. No, there's definitely no fire in here. But they didn't start with an ice cream dream.
So they're owned by Unilever?
They are now. They obviously weren't when they first started. So when they first started, Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield, who I'm just going to call Ben and Jerry for ease, grew up together in New York on Long Island. Ben Cohen wanted to be a potter, as in not Harry Potter, with the spinny wheel and the ghost-esque potting. And Jerry Greenfield was rejected by medical schools. So we had a failed potter and a rejected medical student. Yes, schools, plural. Yeah, absolutely. So what they thought they'd do is they'd do something together. So we're going to open a bagel shop. But the cost of the machinery to set up a bagel shop was just too high and they just didn't have it. So instead they invested in a $5 ice cream course. Yeah, $5.
Amazing. Right.
Yeah. Can you imagine Ben & Jerry's for $5?
This?
It was May 1978 is when they opened their first shop, so it'd be just prior to that. So they opened their first, ice cream shop. It was a shop. It sold ice cream, but it also sold things like crepes and things like that. The crepes and stuff never took off. Crepes? Crepe. I'm not going to say it like that. Crepe?
Yeah.
That was a bit Scottish. That wasn't right either. Yeah. Anyway, other foods along ice cream, but they did drop all the extra food in 1979 because it didn't work. But it was a massively interesting time to do it because the super premium ice cream market was only just really taking off. Then there was only one other player, which was Haagen-Dazs, and they had massive market share. So when Ben & Jerry's came in, interestingly, it was Ben, I think, who's got no sense of smell, so therefore his sense of taste is reduced. Because obviously, when you taste, you can. I know. It's all linked. Oh yeah, from COVID. So the sort of mission with their first ice cream was to create something that Ben could taste with his eyes closed. So the flavours had to be strong enough and chunky enough to kind of break through his lack of taste and smell. So that was their kind of mission when they were creating it, which is why their focus is on intensely flavoured, sort of chunky, creative ice creams instead of just subtle hints.
Lots of textures.
Yeah, loads of textures. Okay, so if you look at cookie dough, which is my favourite, you've got shards of dark chocolate in there, but then you've also got the round lumps of the soft cookie dough. So it's all about the experience through the ice cream, not just about the flavour, which I think is really, really interesting. They obviously had, they did have some failures with flavours, like their rum and raisin never worked. Maybe because it was too mainstream. I mean, when you look at what they do sell, very, very different. But it was just the right time. They were very, very simple. They were very, very down to earth. They had massive, strong values around social altruism and social justice. And because of that, they weren't always embraced by the business community. They kind of stood a little bit on the outside, and they're still doing that now. But it's built such a strong brand. I think it is a good example of a brand that lives up to its ethical values. I mean, in terms of the supply chain and stuff with the bigger parent of Unilever, I don't know as much about that side of it, but at the core of it, where it came from,
So is this their own supply chain in terms of where they're getting their ingredients from, the provenance of those ingredients is a little bit more
I'd
under
like
their
to
control.
think for two people who cared so much about ethics and values and altruism that they are proper involved in all of that stuff and are like, no, I don't want to use that farm, I want to use this one, or no, I only want it to be locally sourced. So I'd like to think with their stance on it and with their feelings about it, they are proper involved in the process. But I know to a degree, as we've mentioned before, when it becomes big business, you do lose a bit of control, volume.
Bring in agency theory again.
Exactly.
Because they are not manufacturing for the whole world. No.
They're not driving down to Bob at his dairy farm and getting a quart of milk. They're having to allow that to be outsourced. So I think they've probably got really strong feelings about it and a really strong idea of what they want. Whether that's carried through in reality due to constraints, I don't know. But I just think it's really interesting. Again, and it's people I'm interested in that didn't start out with, I want to be an ice cream god. They started out with, well, I want to do pottery and I want to do law. Well, that didn't work. Let's do something together because we're mates. We've grown up together. Let's have some fun together. We'll open a bagel shop. Well, that's not going to work. I love the openness of that and how they were like, well, okay, that didn't work. What can we do? Look around. Any old course. $5. That sounds marvellous. Let's try ice cream. I think that's really interesting because I don't think enough people are that open in life.
So what else can you tell us about Ben & Jerry's?
It tastes really nice. I've run out of things to tell you about Ben & Jerry's. Okay. There are no more interesting facts.
All right. Are there any lessons to be learned? Which is you're alluding to there.
Well, yeah, I think it's more just about the thing I took from it was the openness to trying something different and giving it a go, but then being committed to the process. Because if you look at all of the flavours they have now, they've not veered from that chunky, flavourful ness throughout all of. They haven't got a vanilla. They haven't got a chocolate. They haven't got anything other than that super premium level of ice cream. They don't have the value entry level version. They don't have a super premium version. They had this core product and they stuck to it. Yeah. And I think for brand building, that can be an incredibly powerful thing to do. An
honest thing there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really easy to water things down when you diversify, and they didn't do that, and I like that. Okay, so we're going to talk about funny flavour names.
Ooh.
Because I obviously love cookie dough, but it's like the best known. So you get like Chunky Monkey. I really like Coffee, Buzz, which I can't work out if it's got honey in it or that's because of the buzz you get from coffee, but I think it's the second one. Fish Food. There's a really random one which I saw a minute ago, which I've completely forgotten the name of. Something about a vote. Churn out the vote.
Okay.
I don't know if it's something to do with the election.
Yeah.
Just says churn out the vote. And impressively fudged.
Oof.
So it's got pretzels in there. I like that.
Salty.
Yeah, they have good names.
They do. Sweaty balls.
Sweaty balls. They call an ice cream sweaty balls.
They did.
What flavour was it?
In 2011. Oof, I wouldn't like to guess.
Sweaty ball flavour.
Courted a bit of controversy.
Yeah. But they like to stand out. They like to be different. You know they're different. No one else calls their ice cream sweaty balls.
Yeah. Their standout on the shelf is absolutely paramount. And actually, when they're up against Haagen-Dazs, which they are put in the same shelves pretty much as Haagen-Dazs.
Well, yeah, ironically, Haagen-Dazs leverage the super premium element.
Yeah.
Whereas they leverage a more fun, interesting element. They put together things you might not always put together, like pretzels and chocolate. I mean, you do put them together, but not an ice cream.
Yeah.
So it is interesting.
But it's not all been fun and games with them.
You like to spoil my fun when I'm telling you about nice things.
I'm sorry. Yeah. They've been caught up in a child labour thing, which was a supplier-based child labour. Migrant children.
As part of their supply chain.
Yeah, but unknowingly.
But, and we have had this conversation before. The bigger a beast gets, the harder it is to control all its moving parts.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
With all the best intention in the world.
The agency problem.
I don't know how easy it is to go down to that granular level of that one farm where that one person is employing migrant labour.
Yeah, there's no. They were sued for child labour.
By whom? The children.
I think, well, actually, that's a good question. I don't have that knowledge,
Okay.
but the claim against them was that it misrepresented its ethical commitments to consumers. They haven't actually followed that supply chain. But back again to agency problems. If your supplier is telling you that, and every inspection shows that
they're fully
that's
grown,
not they've hidden,
willing
they've
humans.
hidden the children away.
Yeah.
You can't be expected to be there 24 hours a day to see that. So it must have been, it's
And
one
it
of
must
those.
be disheartening
They
for
can't-
them if they've got a really strong set of values to discover that things are happening outside of their control, unknown.
Yeah, which is the corporation problem.
They can't enjoy that.
No. That must have broken their hearts to know that was happening.
Oh, poor Ben and Jerry.
Yeah. But
They should have some ice cream that makes everyone feel better.
But they did take a standpoint on Israel and Palestine, which is basically on the West Bank and East Jerusalem, the parts that are illegally occupied by Israel.
Inverted commas, yeah.
But that decision was made by Ben and Jerry's. It wasn't supposed to be anti-Israel or anti-Semitic, but the decision was based upon the values, basically. I suppose ice cream for all, but maybe not supporting anything that was oppressive.
Yes, yeah.
Or illegal itself. But then Unilever in the next year, that was 22, then went and started selling to
the place they didn't want
the
to
place
sell
they
to.
didn't want to sell into. So they sued Unilever.
Which proves they are committed when they know of a problem.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the controversy isn't far behind them. It's not been excessive, but there's always going to be controversy.
I think to a degree when you're vocal about your values and you're vocal about what it is you stand for, you open yourself up to controversy.
Quite.
Because people are going to be looking for that chink in the armour.
And those things don't make me see them any less. They make me see Ben and Jerry's any less.
No.
But it's like, I don't think a lot of consumers, they're not even aware those things have happened, maybe.
No, possibly not. But I think we've said it before, the bigger the brand, the harder it is to topple them. And it's such a well-known, loved brand, and it's known for being down to earth, and it's known for all these bits and pieces that actually you can kind of go, well, they don't have control over that, or at least when they knew about it, they did something about it. So you give them a degree of forgiveness. True. Because when you talk about massive corporations, I don't know, you talk about Tesco or an Asda or a Starbucks or a whatever, they're faceless. When you talk about something like Ben & Jerry's, it's got a face. It's got two faces. It's got Ben's face and Jerry's face. And that makes it a lot easier to be a bit more forgiving of the brand.
And considering when you started this out that they were real people, I actually hadn't realised that they were real people and thought that they were just a brand invention.
No.
That really
that ice cream gods.
Because I'd never really looked into them and only kind of knew a little bit about
only ate the ice cream. But we don't. Loads of people don't. You don't think about where your stuff comes from. You like the packaging, or you like the flavour, or you just someone else tried it and really liked it. And whatever it is that draws you to a brand. Realistically, for 99% of people, it's not their values. It's just a nice additional extra.
Don't always believe what you read. Is the
also don't always
what the
believe
branding
what you
tells
read.
you.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but actually, they are one of the cleaner
examples of values matching up with. And we said this before. We'll do an episode on where values do match the brand, because there's lots of great examples for that.
For sure, yeah. Oh, fascinating. Thanks. I obviously now want to
Google more about Ben & Jerry's.
No, I actually know. We'll go to the supermarket. Yes.
We can't. We've got stuff to do.
Thank you.
It's all right. Thanks so much for listening and being a part of today's episode.
If you like what you've heard, or if you feel there's something missing, or you want to ask any questions, please get in contact.
And if you love listening to us as much as we love talking to you, subscribe, download, leave us a review. All the love helps.
Thank you.